Today we're gonna talk about the movie X. Now, I love my grandparents, Shout out to both my nanas and my one grandpa Arturo. Having said that, if you're not them and you're above the age of 65, most likely there's a chance that I don't like you. Now, am I kidding? Yes. I can't be the only one that is sometimes scared about old people though. And that might be because of my fear of getting old and not being able to work out and do what my young body can do. Now, I'm projecting here, of course. We all have that existential fear of one day looking in the mirror and staring at a person that it's getting closer and closer to death. Before I start talking about the movie, I have a short story that does have to do with this video, but just stick with me. It makes sense, I promise you. I have a vivid memory of when I was young, a young Mormon boy going to church. In the Mormon religion, there's three classes, right? The first is like the equivalent of mass with testimonies, speeches, lessons, yada yada. Then you go to your separate class for you with your own age group. I was like 18 at the time, 17. So I'll go with everybody else, 18 or 17. And then the last class will be with everybody all together. But mind you, at this point, many of the 18-year-olds have left. So all that I'm stuck with was with the older people. Long story short, I was the only person under 60 in that whole class. And I realized this. And it made me feel so depressed and I felt so drained of my youthful vitality. That was the last day I went to that class. Maybe I was being overreactive, but I'm being honest here. I remember that day and my emotions so clearly. I'm telling you all this because that same feeling I was having when I went to that class, questioning my mortality, anxious with an irrational fear, was brought up again while watching the movie that I'm talking about today, X by Ty West. A masterpiece, in my opinion. Up to this point, Ty West was really an indie horror filmmaker with a lot of cult classics movies like The House of the Devil, The Sacrament, and The Innkeepers. I liked The House of the Devil, but thought it was just too slow and it felt more like a short film that was stretched out to be a feature film. Same opinions for The Innkeepers. And I haven't seen The Sacrament, so I can't talk about that. I just didn't think Ty West would move away from this type of directing and storytelling. He was just too chill and too slow for me. But boy, was I wrong. I love X. This movie brought Ty West from the indie scene to the mainstream. X is about a group of adult actors who are shooting the perfect dirty movie right under the nose of their elderly host, whom they rented some property for the weekend. When the elderly couple find out what they are up to, it becomes a fight for the survival for the adult actors. Oh, spoilers, by the way. X stands out as a film that goes hard with the X rating and the likes of which we don't really see anymore. There's a handful of horror movies that go this rated R and do it in a way that isn't jarring but feels natural to the story and honest. X came out of nowhere and was the surprise of the year for me. My favorite part of this movie is the motivation behind the villains. I think West does a great job having Pearl, the old lady, be motivated by her sexual angst and frustration of not being able to have coitus with her husband because of his heart problems. Obviously, it goes beyond that, and it's only a symptom of the disease, considering the fact that Pearl is just an alternative reflection of Maxine 50 years into the future. The same actress even played both roles, Mia Goth. Pearl sees herself in Maxine as what could have been. They are both the same person on different sides of the spectrum. Pearl, who never went and followed her dreams, and Maxine, whose motto is, I will never accept a life I don't deserve, does not take no for an answer and is willing to do anything to get to the top and make her dreams come true. There's a sort of jealousy from Pearl that's the catalyst for the plot. But personally, to me, that's not the main theme that I took away from this movie. What I took home is the theme of mortality and watching yourself from the outside fade and wither away. I believe Pearl feels this way when she looks at Maxine, and vice versa. Maxine feels this way when she looks at Pearl. I've never seen mortality tackled in such a crude, raunchy, and art house manner. Without this emotional connection between the two, I don't believe Pearl would be as terrifying as she ended up being. I feel for her and Howard, so it makes their actions all the more horrifying. There are layers to this, and I really appreciate that. You don't have to look deeper than what the movie presents, but if you do, and you can, and that's always a fun addition that you don't get to see in many slashers, which this film is, a very unique slasher at that. When you think of slasher killers, you don't really think about old people being on top of that list. But somehow, some way, Ty West is able to figure it out. It felt like Ty West made a movie personally for me. My love of Kid Cudi, Jenna Ortega, Mia Goth, Brittany Snow, and the dude that gets iconically killed in the ring. Combined with my fear of old people, X was destined to be a movie that I love. I have a want for more slasher films with an artistic flair that aren't considered slow burns. We all know that when a movie is too artsy, it becomes a slow burn, which means that it gets a bit boring, but with a purpose because there's a payoff at the end of it. I'm a fan of those movies, and Ty West made his whole career about making these sort of movies. But this is an evolution of his style. He has mastered it now. He put in all the work at the gym. He's putting all the reps, all the training for when he finally got the opportunity to go mainstream. Not only did he hit it out the park, he went big doing so with the trilogy in mind. It's so cool to see and it's so inspiring to me. Another favorite part of this movie for me was how well the characters were written. There was so much attention to detail when it came to that. They are very distinct and surprisingly not cliche. Maxine is persistent, determined to be famous no matter the obstacles in her way. Lorraine has a whole character arc with overcoming her church mouse archetype. RJ just wants to make a cinema out of a porno, which is very endearing. And even the horror character has some layers to her as she is a talented singer. They all stand out and have at least one great moment that spotlights them, in which most slasher films, you don't really get to see the cannon fodder be given this much attention. The first half of the film is dedicated to character building. There's also a sort of meta commentary with the character RJ, because he's basically an insert character for the director. This is Ty West's attempt at him himself making a dirty movie into cinema. I can't wait to talk to you about his prequel, Pearl, as I love that movie a bit more than I love this movie. I recommend everyone watch X, as it's dark, funny, bloody, has good characters, great writing, and is made better after watching its other two companion pieces, that being, like I said, Pearl and Maxine. Thanks for watching this video, and I don't hate old people. I'm just kidding about that. Or am I? Peace out.